Picture this. You're having lunch, maybe scrolling your phone, complaining about work, deciding what to wear tomorrow. Now imagine you have 18 hours left to live, and you don't know it. August 24th, 79 AD, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 20,000 people are living their normal lives in the richest resort town in the Roman Empire. In 18 hours, they'll all be dead, buried, erased from existence. But here's the twist that will haunt you. The same ash that killed them also froze them in time. A mother clutching her child, lovers in a final embrace, a dog straining against its chain, trying desperately to break free. They're still there, waiting beneath the ash, and their story will change how you see everything. This is the last day of Pompeii, and you're about to live every terrifying second of it. Pompeii wasn't just another Roman town. This was ancient Vegas meets Miami Beach meets Napa Valley. Imagine the most exclusive resort destination you can think of. Now add thermal baths fed by volcanic hot springs, wine so legendary that bottles sold for a month's wages, and enough hedonistic excess to make modern party cities look tame. 25 taverns, multiple brothels with explicit menus painted on the walls, the freshest seafood in the empire, absolute discretion guaranteed. What happened in Pompeii stayed in Pompeii. But it wasn't all pleasure. This city was rich. The volcanic soil produced 3 harvests a year. The wine export business alone was worth millions in today's money. Garum, fermented fish sauce, basically ancient luxury ketchup, shipped to Britain, Egypt, everywhere. A single jar could cost a worker's monthly salary. The homes? Insane. Indoor plumbing, heated floors, frescoes covering every wall. The Villa of the Mysteries was 14,000 square feet. The House of the Faun had its own private bath complex. 20,000 people lived here. Senators, merchants, artists, slaves, gladiators, prostitutes, bakers, all thriving in the shadow of a mountain they called Vesuvius. Yeah, that mountain, the one covered in vineyards, the quiet one. Here's what they didn't know. 4 miles beneath their paradise, a chamber of molten magma had been building pressure for 800 years. The 62 AD earthquake that damaged half the city, that wasn't random. That was a warning shot. On the morning of August 24th, 79 AD, nobody in Pompeii knows they're living their last day on Earth. Let me introduce you to some of them. Meet Modestus. He owns a bakery on the Via dell'Abbondanza. Right now, at 10 a.m., he's got 81 loaves in the ovens. Slaves are kneading tomorrow's dough. He's checking the wheat quality, calculating profits. Business is good. We know about those 81 loaves because when archaeologists found his bakery 1,700 years later, the bread was still there, carbonized, preserved, still countable. Meet Salatus. He's a Thracian gladiator, a prisoner of war who fights in the amphitheater. But he's also a local celebrity. Women literally write graffiti about him. Salatus makes the girls swoon. He's eating his high-protein breakfast, beans and barley, preparing for training. He has no idea he'll die in the barracks courtyard, still wearing his chains. Meet Julia Felix, wealthy widow. Right now, her slaves are drawing her bath, scenting it with Egyptian oils. Her biggest decision today? Emeralds or pearls for the public baths. She'll spend the afternoon gossiping about the upcoming gladiator games. She will never see those games. Meet a family we'll never know the name of. Father's a day laborer, mother's pregnant with their 6th child. 10-year-old daughter is heading to the market for bread. 3-year-old son is playing with a wooden horse his dad carved. By midnight, they'll all be dead, together, frozen in their final moments. The forum is packed. Politicians are campaigning, graffiti everywhere. Vote for Gaius Julius Polybius. He brings good bread. Democracy, Pompeian style. At noon, the city pauses for lunch. Families gather. Street vendors sell hot sausages. Someone writes on a tavern wall, "I made bread." It's the last normal moment Pompeii will ever have. At 1 p.m., the mountain explodes. The sound is heard in Rome, 150 miles away. In Pompeii, the blast is physically painful. People stumble into the streets, hands over ears, looking up at the impossible. A column of ash and rock is shooting 15 miles straight up, higher than commercial jets fly. At the top, it spreads like an umbrella, creating a mushroom cloud that blocks out the sun. Day becomes night in minutes. Then the pumice starts falling. First, small white pebbles. People hold out their hands, curious, confused. Then fist-sized rocks, then bigger, accelerating, punching through roof tiles, striking people in the streets. The pumice is hot, not molten, but hot enough to burn skin on contact. Now the panic begins. Families run indoors, but that's a death sentence they don't know they're choosing. The pumice is accumulating at 6 inches per hour. Roofs weren't designed for this weight. On the roads out of the city, thousands are fleeing. The streets are clogged with carts, people carrying children, elderly being helped along. Some head for the beach and the boats, but the sea is churning, driven into massive waves. Many boats can't even launch. By 2 p.m., Pompeii is in chaos. The mountain continues to roar. The ash column towers into the sky, spreading south and east. And here's the horrifying part. This will continue for 16 more hours. For the next 10 hours, the primary killer is the pumice. It falls without stopping, piling higher and higher. By 6 p.m., the accumulation is over 3 feet deep. By 10 p.m., it's over 6 feet. The roofs begin to collapse. The first to go are the simple tile roofs of shops and apartments. People who sought shelter indoors are crushed. Entire families die together in interior rooms where they thought they'd be safe. Those still alive face a new problem. They're trapped. Doors open inward. 6 feet of pumice blocks every exit. People try to dig their way out, but the pumice keeps falling. For every foot they clear, another 6 inches accumulate. The air is thick with ash. Every breath brings particles into the lungs. People tie cloth over their faces, but it barely helps. The elderly and the very young are suffering most. The sound of coughing fills the darkness. At the Villa of the Mysteries, a wealthy family makes a desperate decision. They'll try to escape. They gather jewelry, coins, anything portable of value. The father carries his young son. The mother holds her daughter's hand. They make it perhaps 100 yards before the father falls, struck by a larger piece of pumice. The mother tries to help him up, pulling her daughter close. The ash is too thick to see more than a few feet. The pumice continues to fall. They don't make it another 10 feet. We know this because archaeologists found them exactly as they fell. The father face down, the mother bent over him. The daughter clutched against her chest, the son a few feet away, face up, as if he'd simply lain down to sleep. In the gladiator barracks, the surviving fighters have broken free of their cells and are trying to escape together. These are men trained to fight to the death. They're physically strong, mentally tough. It doesn't matter. They make it as far as the courtyard before the building collapses on top of them. 19 male skeletons, some still wearing the heavy iron fetters they couldn't remove in time. By midnight, Pompeii is buried under 8 feet of pumice. The eruption has been ongoing for 11 hours. Inside the buried city, in pockets beneath collapsed roofs, in second-story rooms not yet crushed, people are still alive. They can hear the mountain. They can hear buildings collapsing around them. Some are praying, some are weeping. Some have already given up. At approximately 1 a.m. on August 25th, 12 hours into the eruption, the volcanic column becomes unstable. For hours, the gas and ash have been shooting straight up with tremendous force, but the eruption is weakening. The column can no longer support its own weight. It begins to collapse. When a volcanic column collapses, it creates something called a pyroclastic surge, a ground-hugging avalanche of superheated gas, ash, and rock that travels at up to 450 miles per hour. The temperature inside the surge reaches 500 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to boil water, char wood, and kill instantly. The first surge rolls over nearby Herculaneum at 1:30 a.m. 300 people are huddled in boathouses on the beach, waiting for the sea to calm enough for evacuation. They're packed together, families holding each other. The surge hits them at over 400 degrees. Death is instant. The heat is so extreme it vaporizes their flesh and boils their brain tissue. Their skeletons remain in place, huddled together, for archaeologists to find 1900 years later. Their postures show they died protecting each other. Parents curled around children, adults shielding the elderly. At 6:30 a.m., the first pyroclastic surge reaches Pompeii. The city has already been buried under 9 feet of pumice. Most people are dead, killed by collapsed buildings or suffocation. But some are still alive, trapped in second-story rooms, praying for dawn. The surge fills the streets like liquid. It flows around corners, pours through windows, seeks out every living thing. In what's now called the Garden of the Fugitives, 13 people have made it to an orchard on the city's edge. They're so close to escape. The walls of the city are right there, if they can just climb over. The surge overtakes them. They fall where they stand, adults face down, arms over their heads, a young girl curled in a fetal position, a child gripping what might have been a toy. Their bodies decompose over centuries, leaving cavities in the hardened ash. When Giuseppe Fiorelli, an archaeologist, discovers these cavities in 1863, he realizes what they are. He develops a technique of pouring plaster into the voids. What emerges are the people of Pompeii, frozen in their final moments. Not skeletons, but full human forms. Their clothes, their expressions, their last moments preserved for eternity. A dog straining against a chain, trying to escape. 2 people embracing in death, one cradling the other's head. A pregnant woman, face covered by her hands. A man who appears to be yawning but is actually dying in agony from the heat. These aren't ancient Romans, they're people, individual humans who woke up that morning thinking about bread and elections and whether to wear emeralds or pearls. By the time the sun rises on August 25th, a sun that Pompeii cannot see through the ash-choked sky, the city is buried under 13 feet of volcanic debris. Pompeii has ceased to exist. The numbers are devastating. The eruption lasted approximately 18 hours. Mount Vesuvius ejected over 1 cubic mile of molten rock, pumice, and ash. The column reached over 20 miles into the stratosphere, higher than 3 Mount Everests stacked on top of each other. At least 16,000 people died in Pompeii and the surrounding cities combined. That's roughly 80% of the population. Those who escaped faced a different nightmare. They were refugees, fleeing with nothing but the clothes on their backs and whatever they could carry. Many had lost everyone, their families buried in the ash. Among the dead was Pliny the Elder, the famous Roman naturalist and author. He was 55 years old, commander of the Roman fleet. When the eruption began, his scientific curiosity compelled him to sail closer to investigate. Then he received a message, a friend trapped in a villa near Pompeii, begging for rescue. Pliny sailed his ships directly toward the disaster zone. He spent the night at his friend's villa, trying to keep everyone calm, even as pumice rained down. In the morning, attempting to escape by boat, he collapsed on the beach. The ash and toxic gases had killed him. His nephew, Pliny the Younger, watched from across the bay. His letter describing the eruption, written 27 years later, is our only detailed eyewitness account. Some survivors tried to return, to dig for their possessions, their loved ones. They didn't get far. The burial was too deep, too complete. After a few futile attempts to tunnel into the hardened ash, they gave up. Within a generation, Pompeii's exact location was forgotten.
Grass and then trees grew over the buried city. The name Pompeii remained in historical records, but the city itself was lost. It would stay lost for 1,669 years. In 1748, a Spanish engineer named Roque Joaquín de Alcubierre was exploring an area near Naples. He was searching for the ancient city of Pompeii, referenced in old Roman texts. His workers began digging. What they found changed archaeology forever. Unlike every other ancient Roman site, which had been picked over, rebuilt, and repurposed for centuries, Pompeii was exactly as it had been on August 24, 79 AD. The volcanic ash had sealed it like a time capsule. Bread was still in the ovens, carbonized but recognizable. Wine jars were still sealed. Graffiti was still visible on walls. The bodies, or rather the cavities left by decomposed bodies, were still in position. The everyday objects were revolutionary. Historians had grand buildings and imperial monuments, but they'd never seen what ordinary Romans actually used. Surgical instruments so advanced they look modern. A calculator still showing the last calculation. A lunch counter with pots still embedded in the marble, stained by ancient soup. Explicit graffiti that revealed what people really thought about their neighbors, their politicians, and their love lives. Before Pompeii, Roman history was the history of emperors and generals. After Pompeii, we understood how Romans actually lived, what they ate for breakfast, what they argued about, how they ran businesses, what jokes they told, what they feared, what they loved.
The body casts created an immediate, visceral connection across 1,900 years. Looking at the embracing couple, the mother sheltering her children, the dog straining against its chain, these images make Pompeii personal in a way no statue or inscription ever could. The excavations continue today. Despite 270 years of digging, about 1/3 of Pompeii remains buried. Each year brings new discoveries. In 2018, archaeologists uncovered a fast food restaurant with vibrant frescoes still visible. In 2021, they found an intact ceremonial chariot, the first of its kind ever discovered. The city keeps revealing its secrets. But perhaps Pompeii's greatest legacy is the warning it provides. Mount Vesuvius is still an active volcano. It has erupted dozens of times since 79 AD, most recently in 1944. Volcanologists monitor it constantly because 3 million people now live in its shadow. Naples, one of Europe's largest cities, sits where Pompeii once thrived. The soil is still fertile, the views are still spectacular, and the mountain still smokes. Today, Pompeii is the second most visited archaeological site in the world. Over 2.5 million people walk its streets every year. When you visit Pompeii, you walk on the original Roman roads. The deep ruts worn by cartwheels are still visible. The stepping stones that allowed pedestrians to cross without walking through sewage are exactly where they were placed 2,000 years ago. You can enter homes where families ate their last meals. You can stand in the amphitheater where 20,000 people once cheered for gladiators. In the house of the tragic poet, the mosaic warning "Beware of the dog" is still there, still visible, still doing its job 1,945 years later. In the bakery where 81 loaves were baking at 1 p.m., the millstones are still there, exactly where they were when the mountain exploded. You can almost smell the bread that was never finished. In the Garden of the Fugitives, the 13 people who almost escaped are displayed where they fell. You stand behind a rope barrier and look at them. A family, frozen mid-flight, reaching for freedom they'd never touch. Behind you, Mount Vesuvius looms, always there, always watching. Pompeii forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Civilization is temporary. The people of Pompeii lived in one of the most advanced societies in human history. They had running water, heated floors, sophisticated art,
democratic institutions, and a global trade network. They were wealthy, educated, cultured. It didn't matter. In 18 hours, nature erased their masterpiece.
We look at images of Pompeii's frozen victims and think, how terrible, how tragic. Thank God we're more advanced now. But are we? When wildfires consume entire towns in hours, when hurricanes flood major cities, when earthquakes topple modern buildings, are we really more prepared than the Romans? We have better warning systems, we understand the science, we can evacuate faster, but we still build in flood zones, on fault lines, and yes, in the shadow of active volcanoes. We still bet that it won't happen to us, not in our lifetime. The body casts of Pompeii are so powerful because they could be us. That mother clutching her children, any mother would do the same. That man fallen while trying to protect his family, any father would try. The dog dying at his post, any loyal companion would stay. These aren't ancient Romans, they're humans, and that means their fate is a possibility for all of us. Pompeii is a city frozen between life and death, destroyed in a day but preserved for eternity. Walk its streets and you're walking with ghosts. The baker who never finished his bread, the family who almost escaped, the lovers who died in each other's arms, the dog who stayed loyal, the gladiator who fought to the end. They're all still there, waiting in the ash, reminding us that life is fragile, nature is powerful, and nothing we build is permanent. But they also remind us of something else, that love persists, that courage exists even in the face of certain death, that human connection matters more than marble or gold. The past isn't dead, it's just waiting beneath the ash, frozen in time, ready to teach us. This was the last day of Pompeii.